Good morning. How is everyone? Great? Yay! All right. Well, just want to double check before we get started that you all can hear me okay, especially in the back. Maybe when it dies down a little bit. Good? Yay, thank you. We got a little bit of participation. All right. So I'm good without the headset if you all are good. And we will pick up here with the REALTRACS class. Some of you look familiar. I've met you before. Very cute. Yes. All right. Well, my name is Bobby Jo, for those of you I've not met before. And we just do a lot of on-site training for REALTRACS. So today, since I'm going to guess a lot of you are new and then some of you are not so new, we're going to mix it up a little bit. I'm not going to stay just basic for all of you. We will get into questions, whatever you all have for me. We're glad to go into anything at all. I also want to be sure that we touch on our mobile process just a little bit. So I brought my phone, and I'm going to put my phone up to the screen up above so you all can kind of play along with that. Maybe getting your settings on your phone set up. Has anybody tried REALTRACS on your phone? What do you think about it? You don't love it? Okay, so do you think if maybe we went through it a little bit? No? Nothing's going to help.
No, it's fine. I don't know. Once you get to the advanced part,
yes?
then it's easier to find things, but to me it's just
Okay, so there's some new things with the mobile devices, which is why I wanted to go over it as well, because we've added a few things to it. So I just want to make sure that we're all taking advantage of that. And here's why. Matter of fact, that's where I'm going to start. If you guys are okay with that, I'm going to start on the mobile device. So if you want to pull yours out while I get mine hooked up. Really, one of the things that people keep asking for with REALTRACS is, hey, do you guys have an app that we can use? REALTRACS has a website that you can utilize. Now, the website that we had, the full website that you use every day for REALTRACS, if you were to try and use that on your phone, it wouldn't be fun because your screen is so small and trying to zoom into that site to utilize it. So we're trying to make everything with your mobile device and your mobile website, every piece of REALTRACS will become mobile friendly. So the reason I say what you want to do is go ahead and start getting familiar with the mobile website is because that's what you're going to be using every day with REALTRACS and the way that it functions and the way that it works. So think about that when you're using the mobile site. Now, obviously when she said when we go to the advanced piece it gets easier. So the advanced piece is going to be more like what your search is going to look like. Sorry, let me make a couple of tweaks here. See if we can get that to come up. So with the app, what we were thinking is the app is third-party related. And if we were to go through an app and give you information on that app, it wouldn't be 100% real-time and accurate. So with that, we decided to show you how to make a little icon on your home screen for our mobile site. So any website that you go to can be made as a little icon on the home screen. And that's what we're thinking people are saying, do you have an app? I just want a one click away from the REALTRACS site, right? Would that be true? All right, so we can do that, and I'll share that with you today. So what I want you to do, no matter what phone you have, whether it be a Droid or an iPhone, what we're going to do is we're going to open up your browser. Now, up above, I'm using the iPhone, so I'm going to use my Safari browser to get to REALTRACS, even though I already have it saved. I'm going to step you through the whole process. So when you go into Safari, in your main toolbar at the top, or your address bar, go ahead and go to realtracs.net. This is what my son wants for Christmas. If anybody wants to donate. All right. Now, the other thing about REALTRACS is being able to save your user and password. So if you're using your mobile device, especially if you're out in the field roaming around, you don't always have time or want to take the time to type in that user and password every single time. So on your phone, unlike your computer, on your phone, you can save your username and password. Now that may cause you to go in and have to change some settings through your phone, but we'll take care of that too. So right now, I've got mine saved. So if I were to click in the username box, I would see this little gray bar that says passwords for this website. I type it and it auto-populates my password, so I don't have to fill it in every time. So if you're typing that in, you're typing username and password and it asks you to save it, by all means, allow it to save it. Right? If it doesn't, we'll go in after class and I'll deal with your settings because everybody's maybe a little bit different as we go through that. Unless, does everybody here have an iPhone? No? Okay, so we'll do that at the end. Deal with all the different.
How did you do that? I'm sorry, I was looking at that.
Okay, so I have to actually go in and make my settings work to make it happen, but when I tap in the username box, I had my password saved, so in that little gray bar right there underneath the word passwords, it said passwords for this site. So I tapped on my name, my username, and it auto-populated it for me. But that may be something that we have to go in and save and do in your settings. So since we all have different settings, we'll deal with that towards the end. I want to get into different avenues here. So go ahead and log in. Again. Now once you arrive at realtracs.net, it will obviously look much different than you are used to when you go to realtracs.net on your computer. Agreed? All right, so right now what we've got is just a basic search process. So you can search for that property right across the street or right down the road if you need to. We made that really easy for you to utilize. However, if for whatever reason you said, I am on my phone, I'm out in the field, I don't have my computer, I absolutely have to get to the full site. And now you've made it to where I can't even see the full site when I go to realtracs.net. So how do I do that? Right up there in the top right-hand corner where you see your name listed, if you tap on your name, you will see the option to go to full site. So you still have that capability if you need to get back to all those different pieces. But keeping in mind that all those different pieces, that full site will all be here eventually, to where you can do everything and it all will be mobile friendly. It is not currently. So we're making every little piece of it mobile friendly where you'll be able to use everything through this site. Right? Sound okay? All right. Very good. Okay, so just to do a simple search, I'm going to tap my name and get rid of that menu. For the simple search piece, you'll see at the very top it says basic and advanced. So you have two types of searches. The basic search has these little slide bars here at the bottom, and that may be where a lot of people are saying, I don't like it, right? I don't know if that's it or not, but most of the time that's where you get to the point where you say, yeah, I'm not used to this. I'm not familiar with it. It doesn't work for me. I don't like those slide bars. So you don't have to use the slide bars. One of the things that I think is pretty neat, straight from this page right here, you will see where you've got different statuses that you can pick. So if I just tap on active, it will give me all the statuses that are available. Noticing where closed will only go back a maximum of 1 year for you to pull that. And we're thinking that's probably enough for your phone to be able to access information there. So I'm just going to leave it as active for status. But take a look at location right down below that, where you're going to see city, county, school, zip, or MLS number. So these are basic ways for you to start narrowing down your area, right? Now, when you type in county, it's not area 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's just Davidson County. It's Williamson County, right? Now, as you start typing there, you should see, I'm just going to start typing in Brentwood, for example. Now, as I start typing that in, I should see something right down below, the little menu that pops up that says, I found a match so far from what you're typing in. So do you want Brentwood, Tennessee, or did you want Brentwood High School or Brentwood Middle School? So if you see something in the box down below, you have to click it. You can't just keep typing it out and expecting it to do the search. So as you type it in, when you see it below, click it out of the menu below. Okay? All right, now I'm going to get rid of that because my favorite part of this is for that situation where we say, okay, I need the house just right down the road or the house just right across the street. I didn't do all that research before I left the house, and now somebody's asking about that property and I want to know about it. So if you look right to the left of the word city in that location box, you're going to see this little current location arrow. And this is something that is fairly new that we just added to where you can click that current location arrow and it says, I'm going to find properties around you right now that are currently for sale. Now you also have the ability to add price, bedrooms, baths, square footage if you want to narrow those down. But if you want to see everything, you hit the arrow, you simply hit search at the bottom. And once you tap search, it will take you to the map and show you all the properties around you. And they're just designated by little flags. If you need to, you can zoom out to start to see more properties in your area. Pretty quick, easy to find information about that house just right down the road, right? What do you think? You like that one? Okay, yay. I like participation. Even thumbs up, that's good. All right, so if I see a property that I'm interested in, I want to know about that property right there, then all I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on the flag, and it's going to pop open this little thumbnail piece right down below where it shows me the picture and a little bit of information for that property. But naturally, I want more information than that. Okay? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tap on the photo at the bottom, and now it's going to pull me the agent full report, which again is what I would be seeing if I were on REALTRACS right now looking at this property. There is nothing missing from here because I'm on my phone. We just made that report, again, respond to your screen size, and it just condensed everything to that size, and now I'm just scrolling further down to see everything. But this is the agent full report in the format for the phone. So I'm not missing a thing from here. If I continue to scroll down, of course I'm seeing all the information, but I will also see showing instructions, agent name, agent phone number. I can call right from my phone and set up an appointment. At the very bottom, if any documents or links have been attached, I would be able to access those from the bottom of this page. Pull up those documents. At the very top, I think I went through it pretty quick. Let's hope this one had it. Yes, there it is. So the tax ID number is also a link here. So if you need to get to the full tax record, you can access that. If you're looking for flood zone maps, you can get straight to those tax maps where you can see all of that right from your phone. So I'm just simply going to tap on that tax ID number. The first thing that pops open is just a little summary of the tax record. Maybe that's enough for you. You didn't need to get through the whole report. But if you need to get to see all of that information, right here you'll see at the bottom, full tax report. You can tap on that and it will open up CRS. And CRS is mobile friendly, right? Everything works. The maps work, the layers work, it all works. Again, you may struggle with the screen. All right, what else would you like on your phone? Right at your fingertips.
Like with respect to real estate or something else?
REALTRACS. I don't know that I can help you with everything. All right, so since I've gone into the tax system, I'm just going to open up my multiple tabs here. I'm going to close out that tax record, close out of that additional tax report, go back to the property record here. Actually, this was an old one that I had pulled up as well. All right, now something else that I want to share with you on that property. Next to that tax ID number, you see where it says history? So if you wanted to know, has this property been listed before? When? How long ago? Right? So I can simply tap on that history link and it will pop open a separate tab that displays now all the history on that property back to 1996 and shares that history with me. Pretty good? All right. So we feel like this is a good start, getting you a lot of the information that you are looking for very quickly at your fingertips on your phone, right? Now, if this were not enough for you, okay, again, I mentioned we are going back to where you will have every piece of REALTRACS here, but that's going to take some time to work through all of that. So in the meantime, if there's something extra that you need, that you're thinking, hey, I really want some additional information, I'd like a CMA. We have a CMA report here too, where a lot of people don't realize that, but we don't have an easy button for you. So it doesn't do a CMA for you. So REALTRACS has always kind of been against that, where we say, this is your system to allow you to find your comps, and that is your opinion of what you feel the house is worth, right? So we didn't want to go ahead and just say, hey, here's our opinion of what it's worth, because we are you, right? So we don't want to tell you what our system came up with and the algorithm, right? Other than that, we'd just be probably like a Zestimate that comes up, maybe a little bit more accurate, but we wanted you to be in control of that. So that's why we gave you here all the options to go back and do a full search for closed properties, active properties, under contract properties if you wanted to pull those. So let's say I go right up there to status. I don't know if anybody's catching this. I know you can't see where I'm tapping. But to get back to my search page, I just clicked on the little magnifying glass there in the top left corner. And now I'm going to go back to status, and let's say I add to that closed. And again, it auto-populates back 1 year. I will use my location arrow again, hit search. Here we are. I'm not seeing any red yet. I feel like I should be. Is everybody with me on that? Let's see if I can tap back, make sure I chose. There we go. It looked like it reset. Okay. Closed. Search it again. See if we can find some red on that map this time. Yay. Alright. So now, once I find my properties, right, I'm still going to, whether that be by location that you think makes it a good comp, whether you go in and look at the detail of those properties, if I'm looking at those and I tap on a flag and I see the little thumbnail down below, and this property I want to select as a good comparable. You see right there where that little iridescent or that see-through checkbox is? So I just simply select it right there, and I can tap on another one, and I can select that one if I think it's a good comp, right? Now, as I continue to go through those, if you would like to view them instead of on a map, you would like to view them in somewhat of a list format. Right up here at the top of the map, you see where it says grid and map. So if I switch to the grid view, it kind of pulls just thumbnail pages for me. So I can simply go down there pretty quickly, and still I see these same little check boxes to the left where I can select properties that I think are good comps. Yes, sir?
I am stuck. I can't get back to the map. I'm stuck in the these individual listings.
Okay, so if you're on an individual listing,
Yeah.
I'll go to one for you.
Yeah,
You can see right at the top,
yeah,
you've got a magnifying glass and the word back.
yeah.
So the magnifying glass should take you back to your search. Got it?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. Very good. So once I start going through properties and I start selecting those properties, if I want to now see the CMA report, if you go right up to the top right-hand corner, you're going to see these three little dots. If I click on those three dots, it now says, do you want to share those properties or do you want to put them in a CMA report format? So if I click share, let's go through that first because this throws some folks off. If I hit share, right then, matter of fact, you didn't put anybody's email address in there to share with, right? So it just copied the link. Now what I need to do is go into, which this means I can now text properties or I can email them. So if it's copied the link, I just simply open up my text message. All right? Whoever I want to send to, send me something. And I click in the message box, click again, hit paste, and it will paste in that link for me. Where now when I send it, it sends it out as a nice little format. They can tap on it and go through every property that they want to see. Pretty cool? So you can now text your listings if you need to, if you're using your mobile device to do so. So I just got it. I could tap it. All right, I could also email if I wanted to. Same way. I want to email instead. All right, now the other thing is the CMA. So if I go to the three dots in the top right-hand corner and now I click CMA, then it's going to put all those properties into that CMA format. And you can see here where it's listed them all. And then it will now give me my average values down below. Now we made the CMA report mobile friendly as well. So you didn't have to zoom in and move across it. As you now swipe to the left, your headers will change to where you can see all the information all the way down. Everybody going to see that? Also, if I want to get to one property in particular to see the detail, I can click on the MLS number to see additional photos if I'm at this point. All right, how do you feel about that? Pretty good? All right, if you want to customize it at all, you can see the little clock gear or the settings gear there in the top right-hand corner where I can click on that clock gear, fill in my client's information for that subject property. And once I click OK, it would fill all that information in. So let me fill in something really quick here. And then I'll just make a few things up as we go. Now that I've filled that information in, when I get to the top of that CMA report, you can see where it's filled in my client's CMA, or my client's square footage, their year built, veterans VAS, whatever information I just filled into those fields when I was trying to customize it. Any questions on the CMA? Good stuff? All right. Now also here, let's go back to, I'm going to go back to the map real quick. When you're looking at the map, and you see all the properties here, if you were to go through and start checking properties out of your thumbnail view down below. If you go right up here to this, what I call a little funnel, to the right of the word map, if I click on that funnel, it will basically say view selected results or view all results. So out of what you see right now, the properties you've checked, do you just want to see the ones and narrow down to those that you checked? Now something else that I like about that, if I were on the grid view, and I started checking properties here, same thing, I could go to the funnel and say, only see what I have selected. But when I'm on the grid view, I see more options here, and those are sort options. So out of these properties, how do you want to sort them? Would you like to be in price order or date order? Do you want the newest listings to show up first, or the oldest listings to show up first? Good with that? All right. So how do you feel about the mobile site? Yes? Easy? Okay. I say get familiar with it. I'll repeat that as many times as I can. This is your warning. This will be your new REALTRACS site. Right? This is, you're currently working on, not this one, but the one you work on every day on your computer is version 3 of REALTRACS. This is version 4, coming soon. Right? So get prepared, get used to it. REALTRACS is changing once again.
But it's not an app, right?
It's not an app. You're right. It is not an app. It is just a mobile website.
So this site will be available on a laptop as well, or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Certainly will. But the difference is it's just going to adjust to your screen size.
Right.
So what you're using right now on your laptop and what you see on your screen, the search part of it and the reports are the same reports.
Gotcha.
Are we still going to be able to draw on the map?
Yes, you will still be able to draw on the map. That feature will not go away. But you will have a nearby me option as well. So instead of drawing, if you had your laptop or your tablet, better yet, with you, you could do the nearby me search.
When will this be the only interface?
So it's going to be just piece by piece by piece. And we'll just put it out there. So already, the report itself is mobile friendly. You're already using it. You may not know that, right? So the CMA report is already mobile friendly. You're already using it. So we're just going to replace things as we go. It's probably not going to be one big, huge, new system. It's just as you go. Little pieces, little pieces, little pieces will become mobile friendly, and that will be your new site eventually. Fair enough? All right. And even when we do switch, and we'll make a big switch here, at that point, we're not going to let the old one go away. So anytime we go through an upgrade, we run them parallel, give you that time to get familiar and used to a new site, and then we'll finally flip a switch and say that old one is gone, right? However, the only thing, again, as I mentioned, it's just going to be little pieces at a time. You probably won't even notice a whole lot where we make a big switch. But one of the things we're currently working on now that will be a big switch will be add edit. So eventually, you will see add edit change pretty drastically as far as the screens that you go to and visit for that. I'll mention some of those changes that are coming when we get off of the phone here. All right, so would you like to save this on your home page of your phone? All right, if you want to, what we're going to do, I'm going to click on this little RT tab here. And I think, there we go. Takes me back to my home screen. Or when you're on that home screen, if you look down at the very bottom, now again, for iPhone users, at the very bottom, you have your share icon. Right? On my phone, in my version, it's right in the center above my home button. It's a little square with the arrow pointing up. Right? If you are on a Droid, it's the 3 buttons in the top right-hand corner. If you were to click on that, you'll see this black and white menu for iPhone users. For Droid users, it's just your list menu that you're going to go down. And in that menu, you are going to find Add to Home Screen.
Where was the iPhone?
iPhone is at the very bottom. It's your share icon. The box with the arrow pointing up. Mine is dead center. I have seen where it's to the right of the home button or to the left, depending on which phone you have. Mine is an older one. When you click Add to Home Screen, it just says, give me a name. What do you want to call me? All right, maybe you just call it REALTRACS. Hit Add. Will now take you out to where you see your little REALTRACS icon on your home page. And of course, you can move it around, pop it in wherever you want it to be. That is your .NET side. Now, for your customers, there is a .com side as well that is mobile friendly. That changed quite a while ago. So if you would like to share the .com side for the mobile, it's just easy as them going to REALTRACS.com on their mobile device. Now, they also see slide bars. Right? On the main page, there's not a lot of options for searching, same as that location for you all where you could type in your city, your county, your school, your zip, your MLS number. But notice one of those things is not address. which a lot of people are familiar to going to a search page like this, especially for houses, and they want to pop in the address of that house. So here's kind of what we're struggling with, and I'll kind of ask you your feedback right now and say, what do we do about this? If I were to go to Google and I type in an address, it says, hey, I found that address, here it is. But it pulls it whether it's on the market or not. Well, REALTRACS only has a database of properties that are in REALTRACS. So if they type in an address and it's not in REALTRACS, what do we tell them? Because they're going to expect to get something back as a result, because on those other websites they do. You see where I'm going with that? It's kind of why we're limiting. We're not putting address here. Now on your side, if you were to go to the advanced search, you could plug in an address and do that search. But you all know how to use REALTRACS. You know you're looking for MLS properties that are there. So our struggle is the public going to understand that they're not going to find every single property out there.
I try to tell my clients.
Educate them.
Yeah, look all you want, but understand that you're not going to get accurate information necessarily.
Right.
And if you want accurate information, go to realtor.com or REALTRACS.
Yes. We're not REALTRACS.
Well,
Right. Choose which one you want. Accurate for REALTRACS, others for
yeah.
yes, to find anything.
Realtor.com get accurate.
Realtor.com gets our data. Yes.
Exactly. So either of those two, I tell them, another stuff you're on your own.
Yes.
We'll see what we can do, and that generally works.
Okay, that's fair. So would it be fair that if they typed in an address and we said, hey, we don't have that property, right? Nothing found that matches your search.
Yeah.
Would that be fair? Would they understand?
If they've been educated, yeah.
Yes.
It gives us an opportunity.
Yeah, to have a splash page, saying, this is a database of properties and this, a little bit of an informative blurb, obviously, the realtor needs to do. They need to do their job too, but nothing found is always like, is this broken?
Right.
So maybe not that.
Did I mess up with my address? Did I mess
Some
up?
sort of splash page that is a quick.
These are active listings only.
Right.
The address you supplied.
It's not included for sale by owner, or, I don't know.
Right. Actives that are off, or do not include listings off the market. Something like that. I'm sure somebody can come up with something good to say. All right. So that's our struggle. That's why address is not here, because we just don't know yet how to make that happen. All right. You will also see here at the very bottom where it says additional search options. So if what they see right there on their screen is not enough and they want more, they can go into additional search options and search by garages, square footage, whatever else they need. This kind of looks like your basic search. All right. Good stuff? Okay. So there is one for you. There's one for your customers as well. And again, when we mentioned, does Realtor.com not get REALTRACS information, accurate data? And I said, yes, they do. So the big difference is time frame. Ours is instant. Instant changes. Realtor.com will have a lag on how up to date that information is. That's the big difference between all of them. All right. So I will get out of the REALTRACS site. The other thing that I want to share with you, if you want more information, you want more tools available, we do contract through HomeSnap as an app. So if you wanted to go to the App Store and install an app, you could get HomeSnap. But HomeSnap is just kind of what I said about Realtor.com. It's not REALTRACS. It's not real time. There are inaccuracies in HomeSnap, but we do share our data with HomeSnap. And they have some really neat features that are available to you in that HomeSnap app. So I'm going to pop mine open real quick. If you already have it installed, feel free, go ahead and open it up. If not, it takes a little while to install it. So don't miss anything about HomeSnap while you're trying to install it on your phone. Take time after class to install HomeSnap, because it does take a little bit of time to verify you are who you say you are, making sure you are a real estate agent, not a general public individual. Because the general public can also go to HomeSnap, but they don't see all of the agent privileged information that you would. All right, now when I open up HomeSnap, the idea behind HomeSnap when it first originated was snapping pictures of houses and getting information back from those. So what's nice about that is you can take your home snap, and when you're on vacation in Florida, you can go ahead and start snapping houses in Florida and getting information about those houses. If you're in Tennessee, in Middle Tennessee, in your home area, you don't have to worry about snapping a picture of the house to get information on it, right? Because all of it's here based on what's in REALTRACS. Now, when you see the little camera in the top right-hand corner, that is how you start snapping pictures of houses, right? However, here's another use for that little camera. When I say in your hometown, there's no need to snap pictures of houses because you can open it up on your map and see them right there, REALTRACS data. However, if you want to advertise yourself, you can use the little camera in the top right-hand corner to become a featured agent on homesnap.com. So if you were snapping pictures in your neighborhood all the time, then that recognizes you as an expert of that neighborhood. And if somebody goes to homesnap.com from the general public and they search that neighborhood, it's a great chance that your picture is going to come up on the right-hand side of HomeSnap and say, this is the featured agent for that neighborhood. Right? So they allow you to use your time as your advertising dollars instead of paying them a whole lot of money to advertise or capture a zip code or capture an area. So I think that's one thing that's really nice about HomeSnap versus the other third-party websites out there. So that's one use for that little camera in the top right-hand corner, other than snapping pictures of houses to get information about that house. Now the other thing here, if I am looking at a map, I'm just going to go ahead and tap on the map for HomeSnap, and I will see, as I zoom out, these little green teardrops. So those green teardrops are properties in the area. These are listings that are active in REALTRACS. So I can simply tap on one of those green flags. It opens up the property as a little thumbnail. When I open up the thumbnail, one of the things that's pretty cool about that is I can swipe right, and it will instantly allow me to message, favorite, or share this property with somebody out there if I wanted to. I can also tap on that photo to see additional photos and additional information down below. Now through HomeSnap and the information you're looking at down below, you're going to miss some information. You're not going to get the full tax records. You're not going to get realtor remarks. But again, this isn't REALTRACS. This is a third-party system where it's just allowing you to pull additional features and a little bit of information about that property. Now through HomeSnap, you're going to see a few of these sections here where you've got pieces outlined in gold, and they'll say Pro to the right of them. The Pro version, you don't have to pay for that. The Pro version is, I'm a real estate agent. I need more information than the general public, right? So when you install Pro, you have additional pieces available to you. The first one here is a safety timer. So if you are close to a property and you are not comfortable with showing that property and you're not comfortable with who you're with, you can set up this safety timer. CentralLock has something very similar that you can utilize as well. But that safety timer allows me to simply tap, and it will allow me to set up how much time I need to feel safe and to feel comfortable showing this property. And then I will add an emergency contact. Who do I want to contact if I want to send out a distress alert? Who are you sending that alert to? So I picked my husband, right? Now, if you set somebody up as emergency contact, the only thing I will say is be sure that you notify that person that you have them set up as your emergency contact. You do not alarm them and they think, what? And they'll call you and they don't trust it. And they think, what is this, right? So make sure they know that if you get this alert, it's real. I'm going to show a property. It's real, right? Believe me. Help me out. All right, so I'm allowing myself 10 minutes. Start my safety timer. And you can see where it starts counting down. So if you have your phone with you as you are going out and showing that property, at this point, you can say, oh, I just realized you're my best friend's friend, right? So I can stop that timer if I feel comfortable. If I said at 10 minutes or the 7-minute mark, oh, I think I may need a little bit more time. This is still iffy. I can add time. If I get a gun pulled to my head, I don't have to wait 10 minutes. Send the distress alert right now if you need to. And it will send a text message to your emergency contact that tells them where you're at, gives them the address of the property, and it says, I am in distress. Call 911. Right, so it's a pretty serious little text message there. So again, just warn your emergency contact that you have them set up. Okay? Do not alarm them. All right, so I'm going to stop mine. I can never use that because my husband knows I just teach in class, right? So he doesn't believe it anytime it goes off. All right, so Rapid CMA, something else that's available to agents only through HomeSnap. The Rapid CMA, this one does it for you, which is why it's kind of rapid, right? It'll do a search. However, it does something really nice where it says, I found some comps. I want you to narrow down and pick the ones you want to use. So I like that feature. So if I were to hit Send to Rapid CMA, first thing it does is it pulls up the subject property and says, here's the information we found about this property. 4 bedrooms, 4.5 baths. Is that right? If it's not right and you need to adjust it, you can use the plus signs over to the right to adjust any of this information. Once you have it correct, you hit Next Step at the bottom, and it does its search based on that information and how far away the properties are. So you will see here are the comps that it found. It finds 12 of them. It finds 12 actives and it finds 12 closed. Out of those 12 active properties, I have to pick the best 3 comps that I want to share. So I can use distance away, I can open them up and see all the detail. And then I just simply go through and I click the check next to the properties that I want as my comp. And then I'll hit Next Step at the bottom, and it says here are the 12 solds that I found that were comparable. Find your best 3 out of those 12, and you'll tap the best 3. Next step. Choose who you want to send it to. You do not have to send it to your customer right away. If you want to send it to yourself, you can leave it blank, create your Rapid CMA, and you will see it right there, which you could send it later if you needed to. Good with that? All right. So you have a CMA option in HomeSnap as well. I'm just going to hit back until I get back to my properties. Property history, which we also have in REALTRACS. But in their property history, they have a neat little piece here that says, notify me of price changes, which is pretty nice. This is for the public too, to be able to see. So if they want to be notified of a price change on that particular property, they can set it up to just simply email them, notify them when it comes about. You'll see agent contact information. If you want to tap on the agent name, you'll be able to set up an appointment with them. Also, one thing that I think is pretty cool about this, I say, all right, Scott, he sounds familiar, he looks familiar. Where do I know Scott from? Have we had a deal together before in the past? What's going on? So what I can do here is I can click this little button that says, how am I connected? And it pulls up all of our history together. Reminds me of who Scott is. But I also see here, this is no surprise to anybody, you can find this information in REALTRACS, but HomeSnap makes it very apparent and in your face. What is Scott's production? What has he done? This is the last 2 years of production for Scott, so I can see he's had 2 listings and 1 sold property in the last 2 years. Now, I always tell people, don't always believe what you see right here. Okay? It is for the last 2 years. It is only residential, condo properties. And the other thing about this is if you work on a team, you show no production. Your team leader has all of the production. So if it looks like somebody hasn't done anything, doesn't really mean they haven't done anything. Does that make sense to you? All right. So use caution with that as you're going through. But it allows you to analyze all of their production as well. All right, I'm going to go back to the property. Continue to move down where we see basic data. School information, which I really like on this one. Now, the only thing I'll say about the school information did not pull from REALTRACS. It did not come from the agent who input the listing. So they use a third-party analytical tool to find the schools. We have seen inaccuracies on this. Right? I have seen inaccuracies in REALTRACS too, but this one is not pulling from REALTRACS. So what I like though is that I can click on that school, even though I know it may be wrong. I get their rating, their report card here, but I can look and see some additional statistics about the school. And there is a nice little button that says homes for sale. So if I tap that, it will show me the school zone and plot every single school or every property in that school zone. Again, just keeping in mind there could be some inaccuracies here. But it's a neat feature. Alright, so I just hit done to get out of the schools. Here's something brand new that just happened last week. Commute time. So if you wanted to do a search based on how many minutes on average it may take you to get to this property, you can do a search, or once you open up the property, you can see on average how many minutes it may take. So that's what commute time is. You can add an address. You'll just clear the one that you used last, pop in your address, and then it will calculate on average the commute time to that address. So pretty neat little feature.
Can the public save a couple of addresses, like a couple of work addresses, and then go back in their address?
Every address that I've put in, right, so you asked, can the public save that? So all the addresses that I put in, it's only saved the last one I used. It has not allowed me to save multiple addresses there. All right, now something else that's here that's really neat about HomeSnap is walking property lines. So if you get to the property and you just want an idea of where those property lines are, and you want to take your buyer out and just walk around and say, we're walking down your property line right now, here it is. So to do that, you just simply tap walk the property lines, and of course this works if you're there, not necessarily if you're not. But when you get there, you say, I'm here. Right? When you tap I'm here, it's using your camera, so it's probably going to ask, can I access your camera? So you allow it to. You say hi. All right, so once you're there, you're going to see a blue line that goes down the property line. All right, and it will direct you on where to go, and you'll see it right there, 3D on your phone. You're walking down the tree line, and it's got this blue arrow that's pointing you in what direction you need to turn to get to that property line. So it's pretty neat to have that capability. Now again, not always 100% spot on, but it gives you a good guideline of where those property lines are. All right, so that's all the cool things in HomeSnap that you can see about properties. Also, I'm going to go back to that map and show you that newest feature where if I'm on the map, I just tap on the map and I see these little icons on the right-hand side. The first one, which has the car, that is your search by drive time. So if you tap on the car and you plug in your address, and I don't know, what's the address here? We'll just use it.
206.
206.
2206.
2206. That helps.
21st.
21st.
There we go. All right, and I don't want to be any more than 15 minutes away. I hit done, hit search in the top right-hand corner, and it says, here are all the properties within 15 minutes of that location. Now again, that's on average based on statistics. Any given day, it could take me 30 minutes to get here, right? We all kind of know that. But on average, not dealing with anything crazy, these are the properties that are 15 minutes away. So that's a really neat little feature that HomeSnap has available for you. So that's a little car. The next one down, where I see the little squiggle line, this is allowing me to do the radius or the draw feature. Find all properties within that area that I just drew on my phone. Yes, sir?
Isn't this, again, I got Android. Mine doesn't look like any of that stuff. Is it different from Android? No,
All right, it should. Now, mine doesn't pop these up right away. I actually had to tap on the actual map to see them show up on the right. Still nothing on the right? Anybody else have a Droid that's experiencing that?
No, mine's fine.
Yours is coming up correctly? We may have to look.
That's pretty old for me.
So usually on the Droids, anything that may look different, it's usually hidden under 3 dots on the right-hand side somewhere. All right. So the other thing here, where you see the little target or the bullseye, this is taking you back to your current location where you are at right now. The squares that are stacked up would be different layers that I can add onto that map. So I could add schools with a little graduation hat, and it will go out and put little school icons out there on the map and say, here they are. If I also wanted to search by that school zone, I just tap on that graduation hat here, once it's located it, and I click the link, see homes in school zone. Kind of another way of getting to it than what we did earlier. All right, other layers. This one right here, putting property lines. on that map.
So cool.
Looks like the tax system now, where I can see different property lines. And then the last piece right here is a satellite view. So if I want to change it from a street view to a satellite image, I can do so. And then right down here, the very last one takes me back to a split screen of map and properties down below.
Delete that, dude.
Yeah, I just tap back on the map. All right, good with that? Only other thing about HomeSnap, your settings, which are at the bottom, you'll see your profile page underneath me, where you can change some settings if you need to. You can search for agents and contact information under there for pro and agents. Homes is where we've been the whole time, right there in the center. Your messages that you receive in HomeSnap or send messages out of HomeSnap will be saved here. News feeds are information about your area. So if you wanted to go into a news feed and say, hey, what are the new listings in my zip code or my areas that I like, then it will keep you up to date with new sales, new listings, kind of like a hot sheet right here under the news feed. At the very top, you also have where you can search by an address, a city, a school, or a zip. You needed to do that. You have filters where you can put in price, bedroom stats, square footage. You want to narrow down that way. Do a basic search. I think the best one about HomeSnap is just seeing properties that are active right there on your screen. All right. So any questions about mobile RealTracs or HomeSnap? You should be able to access any kind of information you want on your mobile phone. I'm not limiting you at all on that. All right. Excellent. I'll remove the phone. Back to the computer. What questions do you have about RealTracs in general? I think everybody's moving pretty smooth through RealTracs. All right. So just a couple of things. You mentioned the map. Are we always going to have the map? So everybody comfortable with drawing your areas on the map? You can draw 2 areas on the map, not just one. If you want to create 2 areas and search there, you certainly can. Yes, sir.
I have a question about how to use maps. I do that all the time, and if like, I drive my house off the desk, and I get a stupid, somehow I can't get rid of that map without going back to ground zero.
Okay, so let me share that with you because a lot of people get stuck, just like you. All right, so basically what's happening is on the map, when you're trying to draw it, for whatever reason, you don't have enough space on your viewing of the map, and you end up, your mouse goes off the map and it creates your area and it's done, right? So you're trying to figure out how to erase that area or start over just the map, not my criteria, nothing else, just the map. So give me a second, let me zoom in here really quick, sorry. Out of the way. All right. So when I click draw, I'm going to use the radius. Fair, either one works. All right. So once I get outside of the map, I'm done. I know in order to edit that area, I click inside of it one time, right? And normally when I click inside of it one time, I'm able to see this little red X in the top right-hand corner of those edit features. Well, because I'm zoomed in so far, I don't see the X to delete my area. So all you have to do is zoom out of your map, click back inside your shaded area, and you'll see the red X. So it's just that you're zoomed in so far.
It works with a...
Works with the squiggle too. Yes, sir.
Cool.
So a lot of people get stumped there and lose that. So click inside the area. In this case, I could even move it. Click again. There it is. So what you want to try and do, whether it's zooming out or moving it around, you want to be able to get it to where you can see the whole area. So when you tap, there's an X in the top right-hand corner. All right. Any other questions on the map while we're here? All right. Has everybody learned about your percent sign and your minus sign? how to use those here. Okay, so I see one no, and that's good enough for me to go over. Two no's, okay? Because this is pretty cool and how this works. All right, so if you're struggling with the search, the thing about REALTRACS is whatever you type in, you have to match the way the agent typed it in exactly. And that doesn't happen all the time. So the first thing that's most important is the least amount of information you fill in, the better off you are. Do not spell out street names, just the first few letters, stop typing, right? So at least what you're doing here, when you type BELV for Belvedere Boulevard, it searches for anything that starts with BELV. So I could get Bellevue Acres, I could get Belvedere Boulevard, I could get Lane, Street, Road, Avenue, Court. So always stop typing with the first few letters of anything. You're good to go, okay? The other thing is, when I have to match something exactly, what if somebody typed in Highway 96 and they spelled out the word highway? And you searched for it, HWY space 96. You missed their property because you didn't match exactly, right? It doesn't read your mind. This thing's not smart. It's just fast, right? It does exactly what you want it to do. So you said look for highway spelled out, and it said I can't, or you said look for HWY, and it said I don't find an HWY. But it doesn't say, but I find a highway spelled out. Is that what you meant, right? So it doesn't do that. So in that case, what you question is how is highway input? You know 96 is the same no matter what, right? So there is a way that you can say, just search for the number 96. But if I type in 96, it has to start with 96. And more than likely, it's not 96 highway, right? So in that case, what I'm going to put in front of 96 is a percent sign. And that percent sign says, look for something in front of the number 96. I know it doesn't start with 96, so look for something right there in that spot. If it's highway spelled out, abbreviated with, abbreviated without, you'll find them all. Does that make sense? All right, same thing with St. Cecilia, Mount Zion, right? The saint, the mount, you don't know if it's spelled out or abbreviated, replace it with a percent sign. Okay, so replace the unknown with a percent sign. Typically what is abbreviated, the north, the south, the east, the west, okay? But what a lot of people do with that percent sign, and we usually go over a lot more examples than that, but as you're using that percent sign, people learn it and they'll say, I'll just pop the percent sign at the beginning of everything, which doesn't necessarily hurt you, but it's not necessarily how it works either. So remember, I'm using that percent sign to replace something I'm unsure of. So what if I'm unsure of something and it's not at the beginning? Let me give you a good example. How about the subdivision of Belmead? Is anything at the beginning of Belmead? There's no north, there's no south, there's no east. So I don't need a percent sign at the beginning of Belmead. My question may be, is Belmead one word or two words? Is there an E at the end of Bell or not? Right? So my question's right there in the middle. So I can type what I know. B-E-L, even. I don't know if it's one L or two L. So I know B-E-L, it starts with that, right? Now after that I start questioning a few things. I will replace those few things with the percent sign until I'm ready to finish up with M-E-A-D. So B-E-L percent M-E-A-D will find me Belmead as one word, two words, with an E, without an E. Also without an E on the end of Mead, or with an E on the end of Mead, because I didn't finish it up. Does that help? All right. I used it the other day for, we had an example in class. I always let people give me examples. What are you searching for? What are you looking for? What are you struggling with? And somebody said, I'm looking for the nations. I said, good luck, right? Because I said, is it the nations or is it nations? Is that a fair question? Absolutely. Because remember, it's not what the sign says it is when you drive up to it. It's not what everybody calls it. It's what did the agent fill in for the nations? Did they type the D? Did they leave it off? Right? Now also when I said stop typing after a while, right? So for one, I'm going to put the percent sign at the beginning because I don't know if it's the nations or just nations, right? So that percent sign takes care of the. I'm not going to type the because I don't know if it's there. So percent it is today. Then I know it's nations, right? Plural. But did everybody put the S on the end? So I did percent nation. And people question that. But it's nations. I said, okay, I get that. But did everybody put the S, right? So when I did this, and I did the search, let me choose Davidson County. Actually, let me switch my sort so I can choose them all quickly. Alright, so my map is really helpful in saying here they all are, right there. But one of the things that I did was I went right down here. If you've not seen this, I call this my little hidden Easter egg, because when you open up, there's a surprise inside. Right at the very bottom of your map is a little white button with an arrow pointing up. If you were to click that, surprise! All those properties are in list format right below the map, so you can see them all here. To where I look in subdivision, and I can see for the most part right now, it's all the nations. There's one right there I would have missed if I would have typed the in front of nations instead of the percent sign. Also know where I'm pulling some here that say Charlotte Park / nations. If I had just typed nations or the nations, I would have missed those. So that percent sign helps me find those that didn't start with nations or the nations. Alright, now I'm not seeing them right off the bat, but something else that I found when I did my search, and this had been some time ago, was I found properties here where nations had an apostrophe S. And you never would have imagined that anybody would have put an apostrophe S there, right? But I found some that had an apostrophe. So if I had typed nations spelled out, I would have missed the ones with the apostrophe S. Alright, does that help a little bit with searching? Use that percent sign where you need it. Alright, the other thing, the neat little tool, is the minus sign. So maybe in some situations, your buyer is saying, hey, find me a property in Davidson County, but you know what? I don't want to live in Antioch. So if they say that, how do you set up your search not to find Antioch? Well, if you knew, you probably wouldn't search area 1, right? But there are any property in the city of Antioch from your search results.
The symbol minus or the word minus?
The symbol minus. I'm trying to make it simple.
Yeah.
So yes,
Minus the zip.
the minus sign. You can minus the zip. You can minus the city, the zip. You can minus the subdivision. You can minus the school zone. So if they said to you, I don't want my kids going to this school, but we want to be in that area, minus that school.
Can you do several?
Yes, certainly can. So the question is, can I do several at the same time? If you want to search for several or exclude several, separate by comma, no space. If you are excluding, the minus sign must come in front of each one. So minus 37027, comma, minus 37025. All right. Now there's another little tip here, just to be sure that you're getting it just right. What if I said, I don't want to be in the nations? Trouble. I can't do that one. That was too complicated. All right, so we know we have to include the minus. I don't want something, so that's the minus, right? But it's the nations. So where does this percent sign come in, right? So yes, minus percent, nation. And it would exclude that one for you. And it does have to come in that order. The minus sign must be first, then the percent sign. Where this usually comes into play is in your school zones. So if somebody said, hey, I don't want my kid going to Page Middle School, then you think that's easy enough, minus Page. Well, it's not Page Middle School. Everybody know that? Probably not, right? Because everybody calls it Page. It is actually Fred J. Page, which is how it's in our system. So if you minus Page, you didn't do yourself any good. Minus percent Page. Or even searching Page, it's percent Page if you wanted to search it. All right. Those two little tips help out a great deal. All right, just as a heads up too with your searching process. Right now, if you wanted to search condo and residential at the same time, you would have to use cross-class search, which would allow you to select more than one property class, right? In the future, because the reason most people went to cross-class was to search residential and condo, they didn't use it for anything else, just residential and condo, we are merging residential and condo into one property class. Right, now that's going to happen in the future, not right away, but it is coming that those two will be merged. So you're seeing some changes happen to our database right now, just like garage has changed a little bit. Association fee changed a little while back. All of that is to make sure we can merge those two together. Yes, sir?
When you merge them, how do I look just for condos?
Okay, great question. So if I were to merge them, how do I eliminate or just look for condos? Because that's what I want, right? So in that case, you see this little additional criteria piece here? You have fields that you can utilize that allow you to narrow or search for certain things. Now, one of the fields currently, whether it's in residential or condo, is the field type. And I'll open this one up because a lot of people want to do this currently within the property class. So if I choose my type field, I'm just typing in the word type, selecting type, and I will see here that right now, if I'm searching residential and I don't want horizontal property regimes, or I don't want mobile homes, then I pop in type and I say site built, right? Or if I do want HBRs, then I could go down that list and say, only pull the horizontal property regimes or the zero lot lines, right? So type is a good field. You will find that once we merge residential and condo, type will be a field where you can search for townhomes, horizontal property regime, zero lot lines. So it would be something very similar that you already have, but right now you'll find it in additional criteria. More than likely when we make the merge, it will be in common criteria. We can easily remove them or add them. Fair? All right, do we like that idea? Merging the two? All right. The other thing that we are going to merge as well is going to be auction. Auction is going to now merge into residential and land, wherever that applies. So we'll get rid of the auction tab, and it will be found within the regular searches. All right. Billing. Has everybody set up your online billing? Online. All right, so October 1st, we are going to go to an auto pay. And it's going to be a monthly billing instead of quarterly billing. So what you will do, and you can go ahead and do this today, top right hand corner under your name, you will see where it says billing info. Go into that billing info and it's asking you for your payment type. So you'll put in your credit card number or your bank account information, and on October 1st we'll auto withdraw. So you no longer have to worry about your REALTRACS bill, when do I pay it, when is it due, remembering to go in and do that. It will be automatic every month. So go ahead and set that up before October 1st and you won't have any trouble or struggle when that day comes. All right? You're welcome.